Thanksgiving had arrived and I left work early, my heart full of anticipation and hope. I had spent weeks arranging every element of this dinner, fantasizing about a beautiful evening spent with my closest family members. My thoughts were filled with images of a flawlessly cooked turkey, golden potato gratin overflowing with cream, and a delectable pumpkin pie waiting to be savored. After years of long hours and continuous stress at work, I craved nothing more than a calm night at home with my wife Olivia and my mother Sylvia. Driving home, memories of past Thanksgivings played like a pleasant film in my mind. I recalled the laughter shared over modest meals and the sense of belonging that only family can bring. But times had changed. With my father gone and my mother having remarried, our family dynamics had shifted in unforeseen ways. Olivia, once my rock, had become increasingly engrossed in the world of social media. She now spent hours absorbed in liking and trending posts, and she and my mother had grown so close that I sometimes felt like an outsider in my own home. Upon arriving, I entered the house with a delicate thrill. I wandered from room to room, preparing the table with extreme care. I positioned the plates, polished the silverware until it shone under the warm glow of the chandelier, and lit a few candles to enhance the atmosphere. Every small, intentional act was infused with a quiet faith that tonight would bridge the widening divide between us. I envisioned a family gathered around a meal that celebrated not just food, but the ties that once made us whole. Then, as I approached the front door, my heart sank. Lying on the doorstep was a note. Its message was brief yet brutal. "We're at a nice restaurant. Enjoy your dinner alone." In that moment, the dream I had so carefully crafted shattered into 1,000 painful pieces. A cold wave of betrayal rushed over me, and I felt as though the ground beneath me had disappeared. My hands shook as I reread the note, the shock of its words slowly transforming into a deep ache of despair. Before I could gather my thoughts, I noticed concealed cameras, tiny lenses capturing every reaction. Laughter echoed from the living room, a cruel, scornful sound. My mother's delighted cackle, Olivia's shrill cheer, each note deepened the sting of shame. Then, as if to twist the knife further, I saw Olivia's phone screen flashing with a live stream. Our private world had been laid bare for the amusement of strangers. Frozen in disbelief, I stood amidst the perfectly prepared feast. The anticipation of a meaningful family reunion now turned into a cruel spectacle. My mind raced with confusion and pain as I realized the extent of their betrayal. Every effort I had made to create a perfect Thanksgiving had been nothing more than a joke for public amusement. The table I had arranged with such care now symbolized my solitude. Each plate, a reminder of the distance that had grown between us. My heart ached as I absorbed the magnitude of the moment, recognizing that the love I had longed for was now poisoned by a thirst for internet validation. Standing there in the dim light, I could do nothing but let the shock settle. The cold air, mingled with the warmth of my tears, and every sound, the distant buzz of traffic, the whisper of the wind, seemed to echo the silence of my shattered hopes. In that agonizing stillness, I made a promise to myself. Never again would I let others determine my worth or the value of my heart. Though the betrayal burned deep, with each step away from that door, I carried not just the agony of rejection, but also a fragile ember of resolve. Despite this bitter night, I would find a way to reclaim my life and rebuild the love that once made me whole. I walked away, casting one final glance at the home that had once promised me warmth, knowing that nothing would ever be the same again. Challenge, an invitation to rediscover a love that I had long buried beneath obligations as a financial analyst. At first, I had brushed off his idea. Cooking had always been a passion, a means to console myself, but never something I envisaged developing into a job. But as the days passed and I replayed the events of the last weeks in my brain, I began to think more closely about what Adrian had said. That small seed of an idea soon took root. I recalled the times when I would stand in the kitchen for hours, painstakingly preparing meals that were filled with love and care. The act of cooking had always provided me with a sense of peace, a temporary getaway from the responsibilities of life. I started to wonder if maybe, just maybe, there was more to it than merely serving a dinner. Perhaps my passion for cooking could offer me a new direction, a means to reestablish my self-worth and develop something completely mine. With apprehensive anticipation, I went out to Adrian. His reply was swift and positive. "Why not come by the restaurant this weekend, see what it's like behind the scenes?" That invite, so simple and authentic, felt like a lifeline. I accepted, unsure of what to anticipate but willing to take a chance. When Saturday arrived, I found myself standing in front of the modest yet popular restaurant where Adrian worked. The smell of fresh herbs, boiling sauces, and baked bread filled the air, and for a while I was whisked back to a simpler time, a moment when the kitchen was my sanctuary. Adrian greeted me with a bright smile and guided me through the crowded space, explaining the rhythm of the kitchen and the care that went into every dish. I watched as he glided smoothly between the countertops, commanding respect not via authority, but through a real love for cooking. When he introduced me to the other cooks and staff, I felt an uncommon sense of belonging. Here, I was not evaluated by prior blunders or family betrayals. I was simply another person with a passion for cooking. During that long day in the restaurant, Adrian showed me small tricks and gave insights about flavor, texture, and presentation. I learned how every component had its own tale, and how combining them in precisely the right way could create a dish that was more than the sum of its elements. The labor was hard, the hours long, and the pace relentless. Nevertheless, I felt alive. For the first time in many months, I had a surge of vigor and hope that I had not felt before. As I sliced vegetables and stirred sauces, I began to see the promise of a new beginning. Each deed, each taste, and each shared laugh in that kitchen gently restored portions of me that had been broken by the cruelty of my past. By the end of the day, as I wiped sweat off my brow and looked around at the busy, lively kitchen, I understood that this opportunity was much more than simply a temporary escape. It was a chance to transform my destiny. The decision to step into the realm of culinary arts was not done lightly. It was born of a desire to restore my identity and find fulfillment in something solid and tangible. I left the restaurant that night with a mixture of weariness and exhilaration. I felt as though I had taken the first meaningful step towards reconstructing my life. Adrian's supportive remarks rang in my mind. "You have a true talent. Let it shine." Today, as I stand on the doorway of this new venture, I am both nervous and eager. Every moment in the kitchen is a reminder that life may change when you dare to follow your passion. The route ahead may be fraught with hardships, but with every dish I prepare, I am learning to trust in my abilities and embrace a future that is entirely my own. The anguish of yesterday has not faded, but it has morphed into a calm strength that pulls me onward. In that crowded restaurant, amidst the cacophony of pots and the sizzle of fresh ingredients, I learned that often the most unexpected situations can lead to the most profound transformations. Now I choose to believe that my passion for cooking can illuminate the road to a brighter tomorrow, one dish at a time.